Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport. We're back again. Most people are going to be listening to this on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, buddy.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too, lover.
Did you get a romantic special drink this week?
Yeah, you expose yours first.
Mine's very underwhelming. I went with a mini Diet 7-Up. I just want something like refreshing and nice. A Diet 7-Up does it for me. And it's one of the mini ones. You know what I mean by the small cans?
Yeah, I love the mini ones.
Makes me feel like a monster when I got one of these in my hands. I could just crush this can.
Yeah. You're just like Andre the Giant drinking a beer.
But anyway, what do you got over there?
Guess what I got? 7-Up.
What?
Yeah. Total coinky dink.
But you got a liter of 7-Up.
No.
Do you not feel ridiculous with a big thing of pop?
This is a small 7-Up.
Okay, you held it close to the camera, so it looked like you had like a liter of pop there.
Yeah, I'll put it up to my head so you can see. There it is.
Okay, that is a regular bottle of 7-Up.
Yeah.
Back to the topic though, Valentine's Day. Do you make a big deal of it? Do you have any plans? Are you going to do anything special for your cat?
I'll give him a few extra hugs and kisses. So I've got that written on the calendar. You know, he'll appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have any big plans either. I don't get excited for any of these holidays. I put Valentine's Day right on par with like a St. Patrick's Day, or I hate to say it, New Year's Day. I don't find it that special. The only one I really like, I guess, is Halloween. I see the commercial aspect of it. And for Valentine's Day, I'm just like, it's just a scam perpetuated by restaurants, movie theaters, and like Hallmark cards. And now Dollarama, the dollar stores are in on it. You go there and it's just all this, everything is red and pink. And it's like, come on.
Yeah. It's definitely a Hallmark creation. I mean, some people like it. It can be nice, you know, with you and your significant other or your partner can go out and celebrate your love for each other, go to a nice restaurant,
but I just want to say this though. I get that. But if you want to do it on Valentine's Day, it's like the worst night to do it because every restaurant is jammed. Like I want to have this nice romantic dinner. Let's pick the busiest night of the year to have romantic dinners and feel obligated to do it. Here's what I want to say to everybody who's listening. Don't feel obligated to do something special tonight. Tell your spouse, say, or partner or significant other, all those other things. Say, I love you all year, but let's wait like 2 days. And then when everything's dead, we'll go out and we'll have like the restaurant to ourselves. Just tell them that.
Yeah. And see what happens. Yeah, it's a great idea, man. You're giving people great ideas here. Why don't you forget about Christmas? Don't get her a Christmas gift. Just tell her, yeah, I'll take you out to dinner a couple of days after Christmas.
When things are on sale, I'll buy you something really nice.
Yeah. I'll see what's around Boxing Day and see if I can find you something nice then. We'll see.
Nice. It'll be cheaper, yeah. You know, I may not be romantic, but I can keep Canada weird by seeking out and highlighting the unique and offbeat stories that played out over the past week. And we have a whole bunch of doozies this week. I'm very excited for this episode. But first, I want to catch up on some listener mail that relates to topics we discussed last week. Do you remember Alicia? She was the correspondent from Fort McMurray who offered to send us an unedited, uncensored video of a man's frozen penis being pulled off of the ice on the street in Fort McMurray?
Yes, I remember it very clearly, and I'll never forget it, actually.
And we turned down her request without any consideration. Unanimously, you and I voted to no, Alicia, do not send us that. She heard our episode, and she sent me an email. She had this to say. She said, I listened to today's show. I'm laughing out loud at your response to my offer. I am with the CUPE education workers that are currently on strike across the province. Our local has been on strike since November. And I just wanted to thank you for the laugh today. I really needed it. Keep Canada weird. I thought that was nice. I like the idea of the show brightening someone's day or someone who's going through, you know, there's this saying like everybody's fighting their own battles or going through something, you know, that sort of thing. I like the idea that our show can maybe add a little bit of happiness to a dark moment. And I can't imagine anything worse than being on strike on a cold day in Fort McMurray, walking around with a sign.
Yeah, it sounds terrible, but I'm glad that we don't cover regular news on this show because regular news is horrific and violent and awful and depressing and all of these things. But we get to cover these light little weird stories from around Canada that get to put smiles on people's faces and send people home happy, hopefully.
Yeah, well, we do dabble in controversy. In fact, last week, a listener from Peterborough named Pat, he kind of dragged us into a little bit of controversy when he presented a rant about the packaging used typically for butter. Peterborough Pat had a big problem with it. You presented a solution, which was to cut the butter up into pieces and store it into Ziploc bags. And here's where the controversy comes in. Apparently, listeners now are accusing you, me, this show of being in bed with something called the Ziploc lobby. Listen to this.
Hey there, guys. John from Calgary, British Columbia, chiming in. Your listener gripe last week was around the packaging of butter in its little foil package. And from your response, I can only guess that you guys are in the pocket of the big money Ziploc lobby. Imagine opening your refrigerator to see everything in its own little Ziploc bag. Butter, mustard, ketchup, individual eggs in their own tiny little bags. I'm sure, though, you wash and reuse those bags to be kind to the environment. Anyway, just thought I'd share my thoughts around that. Love your show.
Now, I think John was kind of presenting this dystopian situation with everything individually wrapped in these bags. That sounds like heaven to me. I would love to open my fridge and have everything organized in its own separate Ziploc bag that has been cleaned in its own. I love that. John, you're describing my ideal kitchen.
I love the idea. You know, I talked about it last week about how I like to put a lot of things in Ziploc bags and put them in the fridge and have them have their nice separation from the other foods. You know, I don't want them to get contaminated. I don't want them, you know, rubbing up against lettuce or sliding up against ketchup. Like I want everyone to be separated in my fridge and clean and safe and tastier that way. And nothing is tainted. You know, it's perfect.
And your fridge isn't going to smell like cat food,
Exactly,
which is nice.
yeah.
Before we move away from this, only other thing I want to say is we keep saying Ziploc bags. I want to make it clear that the kind I use, I buy at IKEA. We have an IKEA in Halifax, and they're Ziploc bags. I guess it's kind of like that Kleenex thing. When I say Ziploc bags, I just mean resealable plastic bags. The IKEA brand Ziploc bags are the kind I swear by.
Yeah. Should we talk about this the rest of the episode?
No, we're going to get into our first story that this is kind of a light one, but I think it's topical because over the past week, we had a snowstorm in Halifax. We have a huge snowstorm coming tomorrow, and the temperatures have been really low here. So I feel like every day I'm scratching ice and snow off my window of my car, and I'm sure you're doing the same kind of thing. When I was going through all the stories from the past week, I noticed kind of an interesting one pop up related to snow being cleared off of car windows. This story specifically comes out of Burnaby, BC. It involves the RCMP going to war with people who have not properly cleaned the snow off their cars. Could the newsboy read the title of this article?
Okay, I'll bring the newsboy out for this one. I wasn't expecting to bring him out.
It's Valentine's Day. Remember we had News
Do
Girl
not
last week, so
talk
maybe
about
he's hanging around.
the newsboy. No, I don't like that. But he'll do it. I'll bring him over here. Extra, extra, read all about it. Burnaby RCMP declare war on snow-covered vehicles.
Burnaby RCMP pulled over 112 drivers in just 2 hours this past week for failing to properly clear snow off their vehicles. Officers conducted the enforcement operation Monday morning at one particularly problematic intersection in the city. Leaving snow on your vehicle, including the windshield, windows, and roof, creates safety hazards for all road users and can result in being ticketed, the force stated. With more snow and cold weather in the forecast, police are reminding drivers to clear off their vehicles before they hit the road. Monday's operation focused on education, so no tickets were issued, said the RCMP spokesperson. But that all changed on Tuesday. Today, we started writing tickets because our softer message yesterday had not been heard, the force shared. During Tuesday's enforcement, officers stopped one driver who was going 12 kilometers an hour in a 50 kilometer an hour zone with his windshield nearly completely covered in snow. A 10-car lineup had formed behind the driver. When pulled over, the man's excuse was that he was actually driving to a store to buy a brush to clear the snow. Not buying that excuse, the driver was issued a $109 ticket and had 2 points deducted from his driving record. He was also required to clear his vehicle by hand before being allowed to continue driving. Do you feel sorry for this guy?
For the driver?
That punishment of having to clear it by hand, I think that's good. That's embarrassing. Imagine you're driving down the street and you see a car pulled over by the police, completely covered in snow, and the cops order the guy out with his hand to wipe off his car. I think that's appropriate.
But are you suggesting that the humiliation of the act is punishment enough and he shouldn't have gotten the $109 ticket?
I don't know. Here's another thing. I have an issue with the dollar amounts of tickets where I think it should be, it should scale based on your income. Like for some people, a $109 ticket would be crushing. For some people, a $109 ticket is something they just scoff at. So I feel like your ticket, when you get a ticket, there should be some system where it quickly looks at last year's tax return to get a sense of how much money you make, and it's a percentage.
But what if you haven't filed your taxes in years?
Then they arrest you there on the spot.
Oh, wow. You're getting into some real deep water here with this idea of yours. You'll have a lot of people arrested if that's what you're out to do.
Really? I'd be surprised if there's a lot of people. But I guess if you're pulling over people with expired registration and that stuff, you're going to come across people who haven't dealt with their taxes.
100% you would, yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad they're ticketing these people. It's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's crazy dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And it's not just the windows. Some people will clear off their windshield or in their back windshield. But if you have a pile of snow on your hood, that snow is flying back at the car behind you.
Yeah.
Or if you put on your brakes, it may slide down your windshield, and all of a sudden you're blinded for a few seconds or whatever. It's dangerous. What you got to do is just go out, start your car, let it warm up, wipe the thing off to your best of your ability, and then hit the road.
I have a remote car starter, so I start mine up, and I have a nice long, heavy duty, car brush. So that makes it super easy to get at the top of the vehicle. It's an excellent weapon as well. If anyone were to ever comes at me, I've got this beast.
Yeah, I'll clear the ice off your face.
It's like a battle axe, and I could just lob their heads off. It would be a great reason to go to jail for me. But and
it'd be a good story for us. A good story for us to cover as well, if that's something like that.
Yeah. Canadian podcaster severs the head of angry driver.
Okay, well, we'll save that story for another week. Let's get into it here. We got a lot to get into. I'm excited for this one. In this episode, we have 2 stories of front yard chaos that are going to take us through Winnipeg as well as Calgary. We're going to receive a consumer complaint related to an unimaginably naive Canadian and a psychic who is unable to create love. And then we'll probably again roll our eyes at yet another Tim Hortons story. First, a quick ad break, and then we'll get into the front yard chaos. Aaron, as we've already said, for a lot of people, this episode is going to be what they listen to on Valentine's Day. But don't let that stop us for covering a Christmas story. For most Canadians, Christmas comes at most once a year, but for Richard and Nicole, Santa sticks around all year long. For the past 3 years, this Winnipeg couple have maintained a Santa Claus statue in their front yard. They dress him up for every occasion. From St. Patrick's Day, they get him spooky for Halloween, and maybe Santa will wear a jersey during hockey season. And for the most part, the community enjoys seeing Santa year-round. But this past Sunday, the whole thing took a dark turn when a passerby took out their frustration on Santa Claus himself, leaving the beloved statue in battered and bruised pieces. Here's the story of the year-round Santa and the Grinch who came out of hibernation to kick his ass.
He's been a merry mainstay on Nairn Avenue to anyone passing by. A smiling, sunglass-clad Santa statue spreading cheer every day for the past few years.
We dress him up for all kind of holiday occasions, Valentine's Day, graduation, Mother's Day, Father's Day. He's just here to lift spirits for the community.
That is until Santa's spirit lifting was abruptly grounded Sunday afternoon when arose such a clatter.
I was relaxing on the couch and I heard some yelling. Wasn't too sure what it was, and then I heard some more banging. So I looked outside and I saw the individual beating up Santa pretty good.
Santa's helpers Nicole Abbott and Richard Holmes say they're disappointed someone would stoop to this level. But surprisingly, they say this isn't the first time their Santa was targeted.
It happened about 2 years ago over a July long weekend, but then we had a great community again. Fundraising got us this brand new Santa.
City Councillor Jason Schreier says it's sad to hear about these types of incidents, especially when it happens to something created for community by community.
This is our neighborhood. We need people to have self-respect so they can have respect for the people around them. And I think that comes down to the essence of it.
Abbott and Holmes say Santa's heading back to the North Pole for a short vacation, but assure he'll be his jolly old self by the spring.
As long as the community wants us to do this, and as long as we can keep on doing it, we'll keep doing it.
As for the attacker,
whoever did this to our Santa, you're getting coal in your stocking next year.
I was surprised to see a Christmas-ish story pop up on our radar mid-February, but that's a good one. What do you make of this? Why would someone kick the crap out of a Santa in the middle of February? Also, what do you think of them having Santa up year-round?
Well, I can't give anybody any grief about having Christmas decorations up in February because as we speak, if I were to take you into my living room, you would still see my Christmas tree sitting there.
What?
Still fully decorated in the corner of my living room, lit up.
Okay. Well, I like ambient lighting. I love the light coming off a Christmas tree. So I enjoy that aspect of it. But you're not kind of sharing it with the community. It's not like you have it on your front lawn for passerbys to look at. Like whoever did this, the passerby who beat the crap out of Santa and quite literally tore its head off. In the video, you see Santa's in pieces with his head having been removed. That was someone who was having a really bad day and just wasn't up for like some kind of like a tongue-in-cheek cheer. You can hear in the news clip there, if you listen carefully, they included a little bit of like video doorbell kind of footage. You see the guy go up and he grabs Santa's statue and drags it out towards the front of the yard near the kind of like the sidewalk. And as he's like slamming it to the ground and just bashing it apart, he's screaming, "Die, die, die. Die, die, die."
It's concerning. Yeah, it's extreme behavior. I'm trying to put myself in this individual's shoes and think what would push me to the limits where I would see a Santa Claus in February and become so enraged that I murder him. So I'm thinking maybe some people are triggered by the holidays. And you know what? Maybe this person is triggered by the holidays. Maybe the holidays brings up very bad memories for this individual. And that's quite common for people. And so this person probably struggles to get through the holidays, right? So these holidays remind me of when my wife left me 5 years ago, and every Christmas now, it's just so painful for me. January will be here soon. It'll be a new year. I can get through it. I can get through it. But boy, is this hard. And then finally they make it to January and they're like, okay, I can get through another year without having to think about Christmas. And then February rolls around and they're walking down the street and these people have a big Santa Claus in their yard for Valentine's Day.
Oh man, imagine seeing Santa dressed for Valentine's Day.
Santa, who's married, happily married,
For years.
and is mocking everybody who's single out there. Is like, ho, 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 I'm in a loving relationship. Ho, 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 all year round. I only work 1 day a year. I have a full pension. Die, die, die.
All right. Solved.
Yeah. Next story.
100% solved.
Yeah. Easy.
This next one, I don't think is so much of a mystery to solve. I think it's pretty clear what happened is a group of porch pirates. We all know what a porch pirate is. We don't need to explain that. But a group of porch pirates very clearly picked the wrong one. That's how I'll put this. If there's one lesson to be learned from the next story, it's that criminals need to choose their targets wisely, because these ones certainly didn't. When a porch pirate tried to snatch a recently delivered meal kit from a Calgary woman's doorstep, they had no idea who they were with. Danielle McPherson, a welder with a martial arts background, heard the ghoulish pirate creeping up her stairs, and she sprung into action. Dressed in nothing but a bathrobe and some slippers, she bolted out of the door, cleared a set of stairs with a single jump, reclaimed her package, and sent the pirates running. The now viral video of the incident has the internet hailing her a hero. Here's the story of the porch pirates that messed with the wrong one.
Hefty spinach, cheese.
Everything to make French dip burgers in one bag. A delivery Danielle McPherson can't wait to dig into.
I was waiting for the food, yeah.
But this ready-to-make meal almost didn't happen.
Then I saw it get delivered, actually, from the kitchen table.
And that's when things went sideways quickly on what started as a sleepy Sunday morning.
Shortly behind, I noticed her walk up and try to steal it. She was wearing a ski mask, and there was the getaway car following shortly behind. Adrenaline took over.
In her bathrobe and slippers, she jumped into action, and it was all captured by the doorbell cam.
After I pushed her and I'm, swearing at them, he called me an effing psycho. And it was pretty unbelievable seeing as how they were stealing from me. I don't know what kind of reaction they were expecting, but that's what they got.
In the middle of the chaos, she was still able to pull on her slipper and get the license plate number.
3839. What happened? CBM 3839. Trying to steal my food.
The Calgary welder, who grew up in Fort McMurray, also has a background in martial arts.
Looking back on the video, I'm impressed I was able to clear those steps and not get injured.
The video posted online has turned her into a viral hit and hero.
Some heroes wear bathrobes. Not a girl. Calgary girls are built different.
Everyone's been asking the kind of slippers, and they're actually just $5 slippers with the grips on the bottom.
Police are now investigating. What did you think about the video?
Maybe we should sign her up for the Olympic team.
While they say doorbell cams are great in being home when parcels arrive, chasing after criminals can be dangerous.
She did the right thing in getting out there, shouting, say, hey, what you doing? Certainly alert them to your presence and that, but we wouldn't recommend chasing after them.
This is the first time McPherson has ever had a criminal at her door. She says she can't quite say how she'd react if it happened again, but she certainly sent a strong message to anyone who might try.
Okay, I'm a massive fan of Danielle McPherson. I love that story. For people who are looking at the cover art of the episode, Danielle McPherson is my hero this week, and I've celebrated her in the cover art of this episode. I have a photo made of a ninja holding a baseball bat guarding a front step.
Yeah, this is a great story. I'm a big supporter as well. Just watching her clear those steps, the way she leaps off of them and then just grabs at the woman and goes right for the license plate. Like she just knew exactly what to do. And is there any updates on this story? If they've caught the people or?
I wonder if the police even bother with this kind of like porch piracy. Like, what this person was doing was stealing one of those, like, I think it was a HelloFresh meal kit. So it would have been a bag of like, 2 or 3 meals, so $40 worth of stuff or something like that. I can't imagine the police even waste their time, even if you tell them who it is. I don't know. But no, there isn't an update that I've seen. what I know is that those people aren't going to be going back to her house. For people who haven't seen the video, I suggest looking it up. I'm going to share it in the Keep Canada Weird Facebook group if you're in there to watch it. But what you see is the porch pirate kind of running away from the house holding the bag of groceries. Danielle McPherson jumps and clears, looks like 4 or 5 stairs, charges after her screaming, "Hey!" The porch pirate drops the bag of food and is like running for her life towards a car that was waiting for her, as Danielle catches up to her just as she's getting into her car and kind of looks like she kind of maybe pushes her a little bit against the car, perhaps. Immediately gets her license plate and starts walking off as the people in the car are shouting like, "You psycho," which is a great reaction.
I feel like she could teach a class in porch defense so that people can like do exercises where they're jumping off of, okay, it's our first week. So you're just going to work on step 1 today. So you're just jumping off of step 1 and then taking a few sprints after that, and then you work your way up to step 2, 3, 4, and 5, where you totally sail over all the steps and you have to do it in slippers too.
Yeah, actually, that would be pretty awesome to watch. Yeah. If anyone's going to teach that, it's her. That's a cool story. Of course, I don't support like vigilanteism to the extent of running up there, because I wouldn't put it past them to have a knife or something in their pocket. So it's not worth risking your life over. As the cop says in that clip, it's probably best to just show profanities from your window or something, and then maybe take the footage of the incident and post it online to shame them.
Yeah, I understand the police officer recommending that you do not physically approach the criminals, but at the same time, shouting at them, like, yeah, it might deter some of them, but in a porch pirate situation where they're just grabbing a parcel and running.
I want to get out.
Hey, stop is not going to cause them to stop. They're just going to keep holding on to the package, run into their car and squeal away, where they dropped the package only because she leaped over the steps, chased after the girl and grabbed at her. And then the girl was like, "Oh my God, I need to let go of this package or this woman's going to kill me."
The whole porch piracy thing, I wish they could just put a stop to it. We've talked about it quite a bit on the show. We need like a new version of a mailbox. The concept of a mailbox is as outdated as having an ice box or a milk box or a bread box on your front step for milk and bread and ice deliveries. What people get now is, we get some mail, but people get packages, and we need a way to safely contain them. We need to protect them from thieves or porch pirates. We need to protect them from the elements like rain and such. We need to change mailboxes, normalize having, I guess, like a lockbox on your step.
Yeah, that should be normalized. Yeah, let's do it.
I know they exist. You can get them, but it just should be something that like is readily available. Like you go to Walmart and they should be one for cheap there.
Yeah, there should be like a Ziploc bag that you could put your parcels in that has a lock on it,
Yes, good callback. Let's take our last break of the evening, and then we got a story to get into that has Keep Canada Weird written all over it. It's a truly Keep Canada Weird consumer complaint. It involves psychics, an anonymous crush that's maybe an obsession, a ton of money foolishly given away, and a victim that turns to the media for help in the whole thing. Let's have a short break, and then we'll get to this one. All right, we did a Christmas story. It's Valentine's Day. We have to do a failed romance story. Love can make some of us do some pretty wild things, but for one Whitby woman, the pursuit of romance turned into a $50,000 life lesson. After spotting a man at her gym she hoped to connect with, Joanne Whalen turned to a local psychic for some help. What started as a $550 promise to bring the man closer to her quickly spiraled into cash drop-offs, gold bar purchases, and endless fees for rituals that never did find her love. A year later, she's speaking out to warn others and hoping she can get some of her money back. Here's the story of the naive Whitby woman and the imperfect psychic.
Do not start anything, because once you start it, it's a trap.
Joanne Whalen of Whitby went through a marriage separation, and in the fall of 2023, she went to a psychic, something she's done many times before.
I kind of find it fun entertainment, really. Yeah, I've been doing it for like 30 years, probably.
Whalen told the psychic she was interested in a new romance.
When she did the reading, she found there was a man. I said, yes, there's a man I like at the gym. And she said, well, I can bring this man closer to you. And I was like, okay, for $550.
Intrigued, she paid the money, but what followed in the months ahead were requests for more payments to make the love connection happen.
He transferred 12 to 15,000, but she said she preferred cash. So I was dropping off a lot of cash at her house.
Whalen says she was also asked to buy gold bars at Costco to be used in ceremonies. In total, she gave the psychic more than $50,000 over the course of a year, but the romance never happened.
If everything was going so great, I said to her, why isn't anything happening for me? All I'm doing is paying you money. I said, I'm paying you thousands and thousands of dollars, and I'm not getting nothing.
Whalen now believes she was misled and wants her money back.
I was so trapped in it mentally that because I was so scared.
Whalen gave the money to a psychic named Julia, who has an office over an Oshawa flooring store. When we went there, the door was locked, but she answered the phone.
But she's saying that she feels she was misled into giving you $50,000.
The psychic said she provided services Whalen was willing to pay for.
She didn't complete the work. That's the problem. Everything she wanted, I gave her. She wanted different services, and that's what I gave her.
However, Julia told us she is now willing to give Whalen all her money back.
She's not happy, she's not satisfied, so I'm giving her money back.
Whalen says so far she's only received a refund of $2,000, but she wants the rest. She also wanted to share her story to warn others.
This is happening to me, and I'm just like, I can't even believe that I'm part of it.
That situation is so nuts. It almost sounds made up. Every aspect of it is crazy.
Yeah, the craziest aspect of it is that this woman who was willing to pay $50,000 to a psychic goes on national TV
and tells
the story as if the psychic is the crazy one.
The only person nuts enough to go public with this story is the type of person, is the same person that would spend $50,000 trying to get a psychic to make a guy at her gym fall in love with her. Come on, I feel like the psychic did nothing wrong here. In Joanne Whalen, the quote unquote victim in this story, the self-proclaimed victim, she seems to say the same thing. Like, this news clip starts with her saying, like, I've been using psychics for 30 years, just like for entertainment. Like, she makes it clear that she seems to at least make it clear that she knows that a psychic thing is this kind of like entertainment thing.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. And then the psychic says, well, I could help you fall in love for $50,000. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, here you go.
That sounds fun. Yeah, and she's as she's telling the story to the news reporter, she's kind of chuckling about it, which was surprising to me. To lose 50 grand, for most people, that's a lot of money, not something to laugh at. She seems, in her telling of it to the news, maybe it's because it's so absurd, she's kind of chuckling and giggling, and also telling it in a way as if the psychic was being nuts. Like, she had me doing, she wanted gold bars from Costco and had me doing this, as if it was these outrageous requests. But it wasn't. I feel like she got exactly what she bargained for, getting deep into this psychic, trying to get someone to come closer to her.
Yeah, she was literally dropping off cash physically at her house. You're like, yeah, how much more do you want to make this happen? I'm fully on board with this plan, psychic, of you getting the guy at the gym to fall in love with me. Yeah, how much money do you want? I'm clearly prepared to give you whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. And then it didn't happen. Oh, that psychic is really out of her mind. Like, no, not at all. The psychic is fully in their mind.
Mm-hmm. She made a lot of money off this deal. That psychic doing what she does.
I don't think she should have to pay it back.
Yeah, and that's was going to be my question for you. Should she have to pay it back ethically?
No, not ethically. No. This is.
What if it goes to like, even if it went to court, say like 50 grand, I don't even know if it'd be small claims court, but if this went to court, there's no warranty for like what a psychic offers you. It's kind of like a fortune cookie, right? Like, I think a psychic is probably trained to, or develops this way of speaking where nothing is like a solid fact. Like, I don't, there's not going to be a contract written, verbal or otherwise, that says like, I will make him fall in love with you.
No, there's no contract. It's the judge would, I mean, it would never make its way to court anyway, but a judge would just be like, you need to take some responsibility for yourself. And if you're seeing a psychic and the psychic is saying that they can do all these wonderful things for you if you just pay them more and more and more money, at some point in time, that's on you. You have to take responsibility for your own actions at that point. And sure, there are people who are emotionally vulnerable, and I understand that. And I know sometimes someone is lonely and somebody brings in false promises that can make them truly believe and make them more susceptible to fraud in those circumstances. However, this case is ridiculous. It
doesn't seem to be that sort of situation. Yeah, this is, to me, it's like, I feel about as bad as I saw something in the news recently. I think this was an American woman who she thought she ran into Brad Pitt online, but it was actually like an AI video and voice that made it look like it was Brad Pitt. And she like thought she had a relationship with Brad Pitt. And I think she sent him a bunch of Bitcoin or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like you're falling for a scam or a scheme or whatever that's like equally ridiculous.
Oh,
like, did you think the psychic, to make the guy at the gym fall in love with you, he needed you to go to Costco and grab some gold bars? Like, on what planet does that seem like? Oh, of course, it's just a part of what a psychic does.
It's just so romantic.
I don't feel bad for her. I'm surprised she even got $2,000 back. That's the psychic trying to get the news off her back.
Yeah, that's just like, here's a little, go away. You're not getting any more back.
I don't think this is the first time we've covered psychics on this show either. I think we've had another similar situation with someone trying to get money back from a psychic. But I don't think it'll be the last. I just think if you fall for something like that, man, there's no helping you.
No.
Let's move on to something equally ridiculous. As ridiculous as a psychic that fails to create true love for $50,000, we got to move on to our last. This isn't necessarily a story, but I think it may turn into a bit of a discussion. I got a voicemail here from a listener named Maddie, and she opens a bit of Pandora's box. Before I play the voicemail, though, I just want to ask you, did you watch Super Bowl? We're recording this just after Super Bowl Sunday.
No, I don't watch football, and I don't pretend to like football.
Do you know the rules of football?
I know there's a ball, and you kick it, and you follow it, and you try to take it somewhere.
We're talking about American football for our listeners abroad may think we're talking about soccer. We're talking about American football. I'm not like an athletic guy, but I know the rules and how most sports work. Football, I have no idea. If it was on TV, I wouldn't know what is happening. I don't understand it at all. I've never played it, never followed it. I don't think I could name two teams. I've never watched the Super Bowl. Didn't watch this year's Super Bowl. The only thing I'm really interested in is like the halftime show, if it's going to be a big act, but this year it was an act that I didn't know, so that didn't get me. The other thing I'm interested in is the different ads, because a lot of big companies really step up to get an advertisement on the Super Bowl. It's a big deal, a very expensive ad, so it's going to be heavily produced. Here in Canada, we kind of get the short end of the stick because a lot of the big ads will air to Americans, but when the Super Bowl is played here in Canada, we'll have different ads that aren't as fancy, just our typical Canadian ads. But Tim Hortons of course, stepped up. They threw their hat in the race, and they had an ad that played. But don't let me tell you about it. Let's hear it from Maddie.
Hi, Jordan, Aaron. This is Maddie, and I just wanted to see what you guys' thoughts were on this ad that Tim Hortons did for the Super Bowl. Kind of just being like, we don't really care about that. The only thing we care about is Tim Hortons and hockey. But yeah, love the show. Really helps me through some tough times. 2025 has been a little bit of a rough year, so I always enjoy listening to what's going on in Canada sometimes instead of kind of what's happening in my own world over here. So, but yeah, thanks again.
Glad we can provide a pleasant distraction for you, Maddie, and for anyone else out there who's had a weird period of time. But let's get on to it here. Do you know what ad she's talking about? Did you catch the Tim Hortons Super Bowl ad?
I did. I didn't.
Did you catch it in the wild?
No, because you sent it to me, and then I watched it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to play a little second of it here because it's ultimately a take on the famous Stompin' Tom Connors song, "The Good Old Hockey Game." Stompin' Tom is a legendary Canadian musician who had a lot of songs about different Canadian things and places, but one of his most well-known songs is "The Good Old Hockey Game." Tim Hortons used it in their ad, and again, a reworked version of it to be about football. Here it is.
Oh, the good old football game, it's the second best game you can name. And the second best game you can name is the good old football game.
So yeah, obvious what they're doing is the second best game you can name. So they're implying like hockey's still the best game, football is the second best game. But what I think was noteworthy about that is, just like Maddie said in her voicemail, is Tim's kind of made it about themselves. And the way they did it is they have that song playing and it says at the end of the ad, "Sorry, not sorry. We're proudly Canadian," which is an unusual note for them to hit so strongly because there's so much controversy about Tim Hortons several years ago being purchased by like some kind of investment company that's owned by another investment company from Brazil. So can they even say sincerely that they're Canadian?
No, they have no right to say that they're a Canadian company. I take great offense to that. And so I just want to be clear, though. So this commercial aired in the United States during the Super Bowl?
I could not find a straight answer to if it aired only in Canada or if it aired in the US as well.
Because if it only aired in Canada, it makes a bit more sense. But if it aired in America, it's very antagonizing. And
I think it aired just in Canada.
Okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm not going to do any more research on it. I believe it aired just in Canada. And the main reason I say that is I don't know if Tim's they don't have the presence in the US to justify the expense.
No, I wouldn't think so. When I saw the commercial, I was like, there's no way that aired in America, but I wasn't sure.
Like, again, to put an ad on American TV during the Super Bowl is like probably hundreds of millions of dollars. Tim's ain't going to spend that. That's an ad being played to Canadians to make them be like, huh, yeah, hockey. Tim Hortons knows, like, they're Canadian. They get it. It's this like role play of Tim Hortons being this like down home local Canadian coffee shop. And I say it often to people is Tim Hortons pretends to be what Robin's Donuts is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we've been through enough here. We've been ending with a rant. I guess this is the rant.
Yeah, no, it came out naturally. Yeah, it's
our rant day.
I don't want any more anger before I go to bed tonight.
Okay. Well, let's put a bow on this. I think this has been a good episode. We had some really good stories. Let's pick a favorite. We haven't done this in a while. We had the porch pirate getting justice from Danielle McPherson, our hero of the week. We had the psychic who didn't do anything wrong. They just got lucky by finding like a naive person with $50,000 in a love interest. And then we had the Santa Slayer in Winnipeg. Of those three, what's the story of the week?
Oh, it's the porch ninja. You know, she's the best.
That's good. I love that style of story. It's fun. No one really gets hurt. It's interesting. You have a star. You have a really cool news clip. The psychic, though, there's so much meat on that there's a lot to chew into. But I think those and the Santa slaying, I think, is cool because it's out of season, unexpected. I guess it was just underwhelming because you were able to solve that mystery so quick.
Connected the dots pretty quick on that one.
High five for a good episode.
Yeah, man. Slap.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan, Backhoe, Bus Stop, Bonaparte. Until next time.
I just refreshed the Nighttime Podcast / Keep Canada Weird merch store. And for anyone out there who's looking to level up their wardrobe, I got a new line of Keep Canada Weird shirts. If you go to nighttimepodcast.com/store, check out the shirts, and there's some awesome stuff there. I even have hats. They're red hats that say Keep Canada Weird. I didn't plan this, but it kind of looks like the more well-known American hat, except it says Keep Canada Weird. But I didn't plan it to be like a
well, no, it should say
Make
Canada Weird again.
Keep Canada Weird still.
Not
to say Make Canada Weird again would imply that it like
weird.
stopped.
Yeah, you're right. But in order for it to be
that's why it
closely
needs
connected, it's got to
Keep Canada Weird still.
Yeah.
I think is what it should be.
Anyway, Jordan, until next time, I'm a fortune teller, actually. Yeah.
Oh, can you help
me?
me?
If you're looking for love, I can help you.
I'm not.
Okay. I'll take $50,000 anyway.
But I know someone who is.
Okay. 100,000 then.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you've got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, Nicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
Swearing at them. He called me an effing psycho. And it was pretty unbelievable seeing as how they were stealing from me. I don't know what kind of reaction they were expecting, but that's what they got.